Okay. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. All right, I think I got people here. If you're watching right now, I'm having internet issues on my Mac, and I'm trying to look at the stream and our Discord on my left right here. And for some reason it's not loading. So convenient. I'm gonna try to tether off my phone. Give me 1 second. This always happens right before a live stream. I don't know why. Everything works for hours before, days before the live stream, but then the second you go live, something happens. Okay, there we go. Now it's slowly loading the page. There we go. I remembered to turn off my YouTube audio as well. Wow, this is really bad. All right, I think I got the Discord up. So if anyone is watching this on YouTube in the future, in this live stream, I'm going to be going over the entire process of creating an NFT collection in Blender with Blend My NFTs. I'm going to be using a new version of Blend My NFTs called Blend My NFTs version 4. It's the newest version. Oh, I better turn that down. And right now it's currently on this link right here. It's in sort of an alpha phase. There's lots of stuff I want to add to it. But right now, this is the version I'm going to be using in this live stream. So I think I got this working on my Mac. Let me just check. There we go. Okay, it's slowly loading. Okay, cool. All right, so for those of you watching right now, we have a Discord server. There's a link, I believe, in the description of this video right here. And if you go there, you should see a channel. There's a channel called Livestream Chat. And in that channel, I'll be looking at your questions that come through. I'll keep this to my periphery. It's not gonna, I'm not gonna be looking at it all the time, but if you do have questions about stuff that's currently happening or stuff that's currently going on, then please drop it in there or in the YouTube chat. I'll bring up the YouTube chat a little less often, but I'll still keep my eye on it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them wherever you feel fit. Those are two outlets, I guess, that I'll let you guys decide. All right. So like I said, this live stream is just to cover the entire process of creating a Blender file that works with Blend My NFTs. I'm going to be using Blend My NFTs version 4 alpha. This is a sort of precursor to the release. There's a lot of stuff I want to add. I'll show you guys a sneak peek of what what's to come at the end of this live stream after the Q&A. But yeah, so let's get into it. So the first thing, obviously, you got to do, go to this link here. I should put this in the description of this video, but I'll do that later. But you can navigate to it just by going to Blend My NFTs and then clicking this drop down and then going to branches and then version 4 alpha right here. And then just click the green code button, download zip. We've all done this before. Most people have, I hope. But if you're new to this, don't worry. I'll walk you through. I'll walk you through everything here. So that's all we need. And Blender. So if you don't have Blender, obviously, what are you doing here? But yeah, so let's take a look. We'll open up Blender first of all. So we have it installed. I get a lot of files here. Let's create a new file. We'll just start brand new right now. And I'm gonna leave the lighting and stuff because I'm not very good with Blender, so I just want to make sure that everything's works, I guess. So let's see. Let's go and install Blend My NFTs first of all. That's what we have to do. So I think I develop on my PC quite a bit, so I have other versions on here. I'm not sure if this is the newest one, but I just deleted the older version, so let me install the new one here. It should be in downloads or desktop, one or the other. There we go. All right, so that's downloaded, and it's not activated, so you gotta check that. All right, there we go. I'm gonna save that, save preference, and close that. So now that it's downloaded, you're probably wondering where it is. If you're new to this, press the N key on your keyboard. That'll bring up the side view here, and then it's right there. So this is Blend My NFTs. I added this little version number here that'll help me debug people's issues in the Discord server. So whenever you send a screenshot, make sure that either this version number or this date right here, that tells me like the last time I uploaded it. So I'm going to try to make a habit of updating that date when I push to GitHub, so I know what version people are running, if they have different features or not. So this all looks very complicated. I'll drag this out a little bit here, but it's really simple. So I'm going to close all these just really quickly. There are 3 steps to creating a NFT collection in Blender, and that's very oversimplified, but these are the basic 3 steps that you need to know. There's create NFT data, generate NFTs, and refactor batches and create your metadata. I just realized that this tab right here is no longer correctly named. You're only refactoring batches in this step. I'll explain all this later, but let's close this for now, and let's head over to this outliner right here. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, okay. So we have our scene right here, and the way Blend My NFTs works is it reads your scene. Collections in Blender are like a collection of objects, and Blend My NFTs reads those collections and can understand what you're trying to build, like what your NFT collection is going to be with a certain collection structure. So let me walk you through what you need. First of all, the first thing we're going to do right now, we're going to leave everything that's here right now, and we're going to rename this first collection to script_ignore. Now, it's really important that there isn't a space at the end of this. It's really important that the I is capital and that the S is capital. So this is a collection that's very special. Blend My NFTs uses this script_ignore collection to sort of I'm trying to find my words, sorry. It uses, what am I trying to say? It keeps all the objects in this collection the same throughout every single NFT. It's been a while since I coded this, so I'm trying to bring back the memories, but everything in this collection will stay the same no matter what. So however you set it up, however the cameras are set. So if you don't want this cube here to be rendered, it won't be rendered. If you do want it to be rendered and the lighting for some reason doesn't want to be, you don't want to render that, that'll stay the same. You can also put like other collections in here and like store objects in there. That's all good. So this is just sort of the, let me delete this. The script ignore collection is where you want to keep everything that needs to stay the same for every single NFT. So if you have cameras, if you have lighting, if you have a background object like a plane, I'm going to try to do this really quickly. I think it's G like that, and then R, something like that. And like, let's pretend this is your background. That's too big. I'm learning still, as you can probably guess. But for some reason, this is your background. And throughout every single one of your NFT collections, it's going to stay the same because it's in this script ignore collection. So I think I've talked a little bit too much about that. No matter, let's move on. So let's create, I'm actually going to move this cube up on the Z-axis here quite a bit, just so it's out of, I think that was too much. Oh, I don't know what I did. Okay, one sec. There we go, it's back. So I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit there, so just so it's not rendered. I'll explain what I'm going to do with this later. It has something to do with a material generator, or the Material Randomizer. But yeah, we'll keep that the way it is there. Now let's close this. I'll remove this. I'm just going to close that there. Let's create a new collection. Let's call this one, what are we going to call it? Let's call this collection Cube. Very creative, I know. And inside this Cube collection, we're going to create another collection, and then this time we're not going to name it Cube, we're going to name it Cube, let's say small _1 _0. Now, what I did right there is just create something called an attribute and something called a variant. Now, these two terms are very specific to Blend My NFTs, and they help you organize your NFT collection. So an attribute is something that sort of, think of it like a point in space or an outline in space. And a variant is every type of variant of that thing. So let's say you have a person, an NFT of a person wearing a hat. So the person might be an attribute, and there might be different types of people. You might have a female, a male, different hairstyles or something like that, and clothing, and etc. But that idea of a person is referred to as an attribute. Right here, I created something called a variant. So each of those person types is called a variant. So you have someone wearing I don't know, a big jacket or a small t-shirt or something like that. These are all going to be the variants of our NFT collection. So it'll make more sense once I start making them. So right now, I'm just going to create a cube right there. I know this example is not really going to be very complex. I'm going to try to not struggle through this. If you can tell, I'm not very good at Blender. I think that's it. There we go. Okay, so this is our first cube. I'm going to keep it in this collection right here. So this is the first cube. This is the first variant of our NFT collection. Let's, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to duplicate this so we have two cubes now. I'm going to remove this one from the scene just so that we don't see it for now. But let's move this second one a little bit over here, and let's change the size of it. So let's make it a little bit bigger. I actually might want to change where the camera is located. I think I can do that with focal length, I think. That might be it. I think that works. Okay, it's a bit far. The camera's a bit too close to the I'm gonna try to move this back. Now the focal length is too big. Okay, there we go. I think that's perfect. I'm gonna leave the camera right there. So obviously this is not a Blender tutorial. I don't think I have to say that. But this is a Blend My NFTs test. Let's just say that. So we have our two variants so far and our cube attribute. So we have, let me bring this up here. So we have two different types of cubes. I'll move this one, how about a little bit over here, and we'll make this a little bigger, like that. And okay, it's looking pretty good right now. Let's create another cube. So we'll duplicate this collection, and we'll create a third one here. I'm going to remove these two from the scene and then make this one a little bit bigger, just like that. So you're probably wondering, so if we go back here to this camera, we zoom in here, you're looking at this and you're like, oh, well, we have 3 objects right here, and they're all named quite weirdly. So I duplicated these, so Blender adds this decimal at the end to increment the collection number so that there's no duplication. But let's change this to number 2. And then the next one, we will change the name. We'll remove that decimal again. And then we'll change this to 3. So the way Blend My NFTs works is it recognizes these numbers right here. So this number, the first number after this first underscore is called the order number. The second number after this after the second underscore is the rarity. Now I'll talk a little bit more about rarity in a bit. Right now, this order number is really all you need to know. So it just keeps track of the variants that we have here. So it'll make a little bit more sense when I show you the code part of it, the JSON file that's exported after this process is done. But yeah, so that's the naming convention. You put the name, whatever it is, right here. Then the first underscore, and this name can be anything. It can be like silly hat 30 or 234, something like that. It can be any name you want. You can include symbols. The only limitation is that it can't be an underscore, because that underscore signifies the end of the variant name. So let's go back and I'll just Control Z and make that cube small. Let's go back and we'll create one more variant, or one more attribute, and let's call it sphere. And then we'll duplicate this collection here, do the same thing that we did with the last with the cube collection. So let's call this sphere small _1 _0, and the default value for rarity is just going to be 0 for now. I'll explain what rarity does at a later date in this video, but for now let's just take a look at the objects. So I'm going to add a sphere. Who could have guessed, right? Let's add a UV sphere. I think that's the right one. There we go. Okay, and this is sphere small, so let's leave that as it is. Let's duplicate this again. Ooh, that did it pretty quickly. And let's do 3 or 2. Yeah, so this is going to be the second small sphere. I just realized I put a little dot right there, period. I should take that out. It's gonna bug me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have 2 spheres right now. I'm going to take this one out of the scene and select this one, scale it up just a tiny bit just to make it look different, and then do the same thing. So let's duplicate this. And again, I'm just duplicating these collections and these models. People out there who are far more creative and far more skilled at this Blender stuff than I am you guys will definitely do something way more fantastical than this. I'm duplicating it for the simplicity of this video, but everything within these collections is your variant. So all the objects, any lighting that you have, basically anything in this add tab, so like speakers, I don't even know what half of this stuff does, but lighting, images, empty, lattice, armature, everything, every object can be in this collection, and it will be turned off and on for each of your NFTs. And it won't be turned off and on. It'll be cycled through for every single NFT that you want to generate. So just keep that in mind while you're creating an NFT collection, is that this whole collection structure is really important, and it can, it's just important. So let's move on. I think I have, these two are the same size. So let's increase this size just a little bit, make it a little bigger than the cube. I think that's some nice contrast or something. I don't know. I'm not an artist. It looks bad. Anyway, so we have our basic collection set up right here. I'm going to rename this right here. I forgot to do that. So 3 _0. Set that there. I think that's it. Okay, so now we're ready for our first test run. So let's set this up to go. So let's go and we'll open this up. We're going to create In the Create NFT Data tab, we're just going to focus on that. Let's say, I don't know, full walkthrough tutorial. Awesome. All right, so this is the NFT name, as you probably could have guessed. This name will appear on all your files, so all your images, your 3D models, your animations, your metadata. It'll appear inside your metadata as well. So your OpenSea, whenever you go and upload these NFTs to OpenSea or some kind of marketplace, this is the name that will show up on there for this NFT in that metadata. So it's really important, so make sure everything's correct and all the spacing is all done nicely. I don't know, stylize it however you want, but that's it. The next really big thing we have here is maximum number of NFTs. So right here, it automatically tells us how many NFTs are being generated, could possibly be generated mathematically or theoretically. This recommended limit right here, it basically halves that and then rounds up to the nearest whole number. So this is basically a recommended limit, exactly what it says. And the reason that we have a recommended limit is because there are, I don't know if I should go into the math behind it right now, because I know this is a tutorial, but I'd love to get into the nitty gritty of it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Generator. So this is just the code for Blend My NFTs if you don't know what's going on. So let me, oh, that's wrong. Try to do Control F on a Mac versus a Windows. It's the wrong keys. What am I looking for? Logic. Create DNA. Okay, so there are when the NFTs are created, there are mathematically there's a number of possible combinations for your NFT collection, and that number is created by these variants right here. So we have 2 attributes and 3 variants per attribute. So if we do that really quickly, like we just multiply 3 by 3, the sum of the number of variants inside each attribute here times the next attribute's sum of the number of variants. That'll give you the total number of combinations, the maximum number of combinations. The issue is that when Blend My NFTs goes to generate those, because of rarity, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a future part of this video. I keep saying that because of rarity, you cannot generate this maximum number. I place it there just so that you guys have an idea of how many combinations you have. Like, ooh, look, I have 16 sextillion possible combinations, or something really crazy like that. And trust me, NFT collections can get that big in the number of combinations. But because our NFT collections is so puny and so small right now, there's just there's just 9 possible combinations. So it halves that just to give you a sort of buffer between sort of the weirder behavior that you see once you start approaching that 9 number of NFTs. And this recommended limit will make a little bit more sense once we start using rarity and once we start using logic. Logic basically shaves it in like, it divides it in 8ths or something. The more rules you add, the less combinations you get. The more rarity you have, the less combinations you get as well. And I'll get into this as we get into the rarity and logic part. So I think I've talked too much about that. You guys, let's get these NFTs rolling. So let's say we want to create 4. So we're going to set our NFT collection size to be 4, exactly that limit. And then we're going to set the number of NFTs per batch to be 4. I'll explain what batches do in a minute. Let's just get through this. And let's set my desktop as the output here. So it's going to generate data. So let's click create data. We're going to ignore everything else. It'll say, are you sure about that? Confirm. Always works, thankfully. Yay. Back in the early days of this add-on, it never used to work on the first try like that, especially when I'm live streaming. I don't know why. So this is the folder that was generated here, this Blend My NFTs output. Let's open this up and see what we have. We have NFT data, and we also have generated NFT batches. So we don't have any NFTs currently generated, So let's go and check out the NFT data. Now immediately there's this file here called NFT record. Let's open that up and take a look. So in this file, we're going to see the reason why we have that order number. So immediately right off the bat, we notice that this is the number of NFTs that we want to generate. We set that to be 4. Awesome. We also notice that there's this field here called hierarchy. Now this hierarchy is basically a complete copy of your scene. So if we minimize this, let me move this over just so you guys can see what's going on here. So the first collection here alphabetically, and the alphabetically is very important in terms of what I'm going to show you next. So in the hierarchy, oh, we lost that. In the hierarchy here, it's just a carbon copy of your scene. So we have the first attribute cube, and that shows up there. We have cube small underscore 1 underscore 0, same thing here, cube small underscore 2, and so on. And then we have sphere as well. I keep losing that. Okay, so it's just a complete copy of that. And the reason that we have that hierarchy is to understand what your scene looks like. So Blend My NFTs scans your scene, it generates this hierarchy, and then from there, it can then say, oh, this is a NFT variant. This sphere thing, collection right here, is an NFT attribute. There's another attribute called cube. There are 3 variants inside cube. And then this is the order number for cube small, and this is the name for cube small, and this is the rarity for cube small, and then so on for cube small. I noticed I just duplicated small there, so I should probably change that, the naming there. So it should be small, medium, large, but I'll change that in a bit. So the next part here is this DNA list. So DNA is the code given to a given NFT. So when Blend My NFTs generates a NFT, the code, this DNA code, is every variant that was selected for that NFT. So if we look here, this is the single DNA code generated for one NFT, and specifically for order number 1 NFT. So if we try to decode this, so let's recreate this NFT collection before it's rendered inside Blender. So we have the slot number here is it's going to be alphabetical. So we have sphere and cube. Obviously, cube is first. So this is going to be cube. So we're going to be selecting cube 1. So it will be cube 1 like that. And then for sphere, it will be number 2. So let's open up the second sphere there. So this is what that NFT will look like. It will look like medium-sized sphere and a small cube. So let's render this out. Not that example, but we're going to see that these DNA right here will actually be reflected in the images that we generate. So the next tab in Blend My NFTs is going to be the Generate NFTs tab. And for the purposes of this video, let's just we'll go all out and create animations, 3D models, and images. I'm going to set the animation length to 1. And let's create some ERC 721 data, Solana, and Cardano. Let's say we're doing like a big multi-chain launch. So if you're just doing one, most people are just doing one NFT or block. Most people are just doing one NFT collection on one blockchain. So just select like whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to save this just really quickly because this does have a tendency to crash while I'm on stream for some reason. Desktop. Yeah. So let's save that. Awesome. And let's generate. So this will start generating, and we can see the progress it makes right in here. So let's go back to that Blend My NFTs output folder. If you go to the Generate NFTs batches folder, we'll notice that there's this batch 1 folder now, and it looks like it's already generated all of them really quickly because again, it's just simple geometry, so it's not gonna take that long. We can see we have all our animations there. I believe the settings was AVI. Yeah, so these are just the default settings. I didn't change them. If we go back to the models here, we can see all the models that were generated as well. This will load. That cube is important. I'll get to it later. But this is the cube that is in that script ignore file. So we notice that if we go to this next one, it's there as well, even though these cubes are different sizes down here. And yeah, so that's that. Those are the models that are generated. And we can also see that these ERC 721 metadata files are generated as well. We'll notice that all this, all the information that's here about a given NFT is here. So we have cube trait, cube small 1, 0, and then sphere small as well. So let's get out of here. Let's go back. So that's cool. That's our first batch. We need some more NFTs. We need some more variants and some more combinations to make this more interesting. So let's go back to Blender and we'll do that. So let's add a couple more variants here. Let's add a torus. I think a torus would be cool. They look cool. They have cool lighting. They can cast shadows on themselves, which is nice. So let's create that. Move you over here. Let's rotate. There we go. So let's add that. Again, we'll create another collection so that our torus is inside that first collection there. So let's call this torus small _1 _0 _0. Let's duplicate this one. This time let's rename this to medium. So 2 medium, just so the name's different, just so that we can recognize it. So then let's select this and scale it up just a bit like this. And then we'll duplicate this. Call this big or large, I don't know. Large. The naming is pretty important as well, because these names show up. I should mention this as well. The names for these variants will show up in the metadata for your traits, just like where was it? Just like I showed here in the ERC 721 data. So if we open the ERC 721 data again, we'll notice that cube small number 1 shows up there, and these are the exact same names as the collections inside Blender. Awesome. So I just noticed a bug that I need to make a note of here, that number shouldn't be showing up, which is interesting because I specifically wrote code that would remove that number from the older version of Blend My NFTs. So let me make a quick note of that and solve that. So let me switch to my Mac here. This will be 2 seconds or else I'm gonna forget. So let's go to Blend My NFTs. I'm just gonna create a quick issue here. Or a bug report or ticket, I don't know what it's called. Whatever. Someone remind me because I'm gonna forget. My Mac is having internet troubles, I think. All right, so let's continue. We have, okay, so these are the names of the variants here. So let's go back here and to Blender. That's what I want. So we're gonna name this torus small, torus medium, torus large, and that should be good. I think I want to make this one bigger as well. I think that's it, right? What's going on? Oh, Jesus. I forgot to switch my keyboard from my Mac back to my PC. There we go. Okay, now it's bigger. All right, that's good. So let's bring that back. Awesome. So we have more, we've added more variance and another attribute to our scene here. So let's go back to blend my NFTs and see what kind of effect that had on the number of combinations. So if we go back here, we see that, yeah, it increased the number of combinations. That's awesome. So the more attributes you have and the more variance you have, the higher number of combinations you'll get. Now the math behind this is a bit tricky. If you think about it, every attribute that you add that has at least 2 variants in it will double the number of combinations that you have. If you have more variance per attribute, that will not double it, but it'll multiply it by whatever number of variances in that attribute collection. I might be completely butchering that explanation, but the more you have, the more combinations you'll have. That's about as simplified as I can put it. I can't really, Anyway, that's how it works. So because we added 3 torus collections here, it multiplied it by 3, and now we have 14 instead of 4. I think that's how it works. I can't remember. The maximum number is 27, and now we have a recommended of 14. So let's increase this not to 4, but let's say we want our NFT collection to be 14, and we want to have only 7 NFTs per batch. And then let me explain a bit what I mean by batches and what batches are. So let's say you have a really large NFT collection, like 10,000. They're all like really high quality 4K images with like absolutely huge, like let's say 120 samples. And it takes a really long time to render. And let's make them animations for some reason. So this will take days, months, even years of rendering. So a really easy way that we can simply just have that is by creating batches. So if we run this and say create data, we'll create that data again. And this sort of just refreshes it. This will write over everything in this NFT data file. So this will recreate the NFT record. This will recreate the batch JSON files here. So if you have already generated those files and you're right in the middle of generating your NFTs, don't overwrite that. So just keep that in mind. So let's go back here to this NFT record and just open this up. And now we see that we have a lot more DNA, those DNA numbers here. And in particular, we have a 3rd slot. So we have that, we have cube, we have sphere, and we have torus. And then we can see here that we have 14, which is good. every time I go into the code, into this sort of NFT record and the batch JSON files, my heart always sinks if like something doesn't work right, especially on stream. So that's good, it worked. And I'll explain what this complete thing does later. This order number is an order number. This will be the number that's tagged onto every image that's related to this specific NFT. So it could be an image, it can be a 3D model, it can be a animation, any file format, and it will be tagged onto each of the NFT metadata. So let's go back up here. I forget what I wanted to explain. Oh yeah, the batches, right. Okay, so that's the NFT record. The NFT record, you can think of it as your entire NFT collection in one file. So it's the data for every single one of your NFTs, what that NFT will look like. Yeah, so if you want to mess around with it, go ahead. But it's not really used further than what's about to be used right now. So that file is then split up into however many pieces and creates these batch.json files. So right here we have 2. Before I ran this script down here and created this data, we only had 1. So right now if we open this, we'll see that there are 7 NFTs in this file and 7 NFTs in this batch 2 here. So they're both pretty much the same. The only difference will be down here at the bottom, where we can see all the NFT NFT DNA and the NFT order numbers. So right up here, right at the top of this batch DNA list, it starts off at 8. That's because each batch has 7 NFTs in it. So that's that number, NFTs per batch. So we're splitting up our NFT collection in little chunks so that we can render images and animations on multiple computers. But that order number here will stay the same across all those different computers. So we can have, if we have a really large collection, like 10,000, we can say 10,000. Oh, back to my keyboard there. So 10,000, and let's say we want each batch to be 500. So we can split that up into chunks of 500 and send 500 to one computer, 500 to another computer to render, 500 to another computer to render, and so on and so on. It makes it really easy and really quick to render and spin up a lot of machines all at once, and it saves a lot of time. So it's just a really good way of rendering a lot in like a really small amount of time. So let's go back here because this won't work. We don't have the combinations here. 14, awesome. So we have our data again. Let's go down here and let me minus that. So we have images, animations, 3D models, and down here, this is the batch to generate. So you notice that we have these 2 batches here. So we have batch 1, we have batch 2. So if we open Blender back up again, we'll generate the first batch here. So let's generate that, let that run for 10 seconds, however long it will take. Let's go back here. So right now it's overwriting everything and it's just writing over it again. Let's wait until that's done. Okay, it finished. Now let's render batch number 2. So we just have to select batch number 2, increment that, and then click generate. And we see that batch number 2 actually gets created here. So I think a file I forgot to talk about was this batch info. And this batch info just tells you how long it took to generate that batch. So right here we have, it says it took 4 seconds, and the number of NFTs generated per batch was 7. And it's supposed to divide this top number by this number here to get the average, the average number of, the average time per NFT. And I don't know why, but for some reason it always comes up negative. Like the math, like it's just division, so I don't really understand why that negative is there. Yeah, anyway, that's what it's supposed to do. It does show it correctly for really large collections. Like we recently did a project for a client where it took, I want to say like 30 seconds per NFT, and it did actually show 30 seconds there, so that's good. I'm not sure why with smaller collections why it shows that inaccuracy, I guess, but whatever. So we have these 2 batches here, and they're all separated. So we have images here that are numbers 8 through 14, and we can open these up and see, I think, can I go? Yes, okay, so we can see that they're different, right? So we have a big sphere here, a medium cube, and a medium torus, and then it swaps between those for the combinations of those things, or of those objects. So let's go back here, and it's very similar story for all of these here. If we go back, this is the metadata, the Blend My NFTs metadata, and the Cardano metadata, as well as ERC721, images, models, and Solana. So let's go back, and we can see that exact same setup for batch 1. So these are basically identical. The only thing that differs is the actual content of these files in these folders. So when you want to upload your NFT collection to a marketplace like OpenSea or a service like Pinata to store all these files, you typically want to have everything in one folder. So we have all these files. So we have animations in this file, but only 8 through 14, and we also have animations in this file, only 1 through 7. But let's combine them. So we want them all in one folder. So let's close this tab right here. Like, we're done generating our NFT collection. This is it. We have all our files. Let's go back and look at this refactor batches, this refactor batches panel. It should just say refactor batches because we've already generated the metadata, but that's a new feature that I haven't updated the text on that yet, but that'll come soon. So if we just click refactor here, it'll ask us, are you sure you want to refactor your batches? Because if we go back here, we want to make sure that every single one of the batches that we have generated is here. So each of the folders are here. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, where you can generate on multiple different computers. You can send these batch data files here to another computer and have that render with the same setup that's on this computer right here. The only thing that really matters is in the end that you have all of these folders in one on one machine here in this generate NFT batches folder. And that's in my opinion, this is really cool because you can have one machine render in like a virtual machine on the cloud, have like you render it here and then your MacBook renders it or something like that. And all you really need to do is just send these files to one centralized machine, and then it does this. So let's refactor your batches. So yes. So remember, we can't go back from this. It shuffles around all the files in the order, so we can't really. We have to make sure like this is it. This is our final collection. All the folders are here. After that, let's open this up. So we notice that it renames that folder to complete collection. If we open this up here and go to animations, we'll see that we have all our animations, so 1 through 14. So that's pretty cool. As I think back on this, it took me so long to get this to work when I first started learning Blender's API and all this stuff. So this is bringing back memories. So we see here that all the models are here as well. There's a seamless transition between what is this, number 7 and number 8. So remember, that was the division point between our two batches because we said 7 NFTs per batch. But now this is all combined. So that's awesome. So this is our final NFT collection. And if you notice, the little file here, the batch data file, was renamed to collection data. So this actually combines those numbers that I was talking about earlier and gives you like a finalized result. So it'll tell you the total time here. So this is the total time for your entire collection. It took 8.714 seconds. I'm not sure how it gets all these decimals. That's excessive. But it took 8.7144937515252879 seconds to generate those 14 images, animations, and 3D models. So that's cool. It also gives us just a copy of each batch, how long that took. So you can see here very similar times. If we close that, we'll see all our NFT data files, all our metadata files are here as well, all formatted to the standards. I think there's 1 or 2 standards I have to update. I can't remember which ones they were. But yeah, so that's it. That's our first NFT collection. Yay, we did it. So congratulations. Let's delete this. So we're not going to use that. So let's go back here and see what else we can add. So that was pretty cool. Let me move. I think I got to move the camera here. It's going to bug me. There we go. Okay, so now it's perfectly centered. I'm going to grab a drink of water really quick because my voice is going. All right. So we've done it. We've created our NFT collection. I'm going to quickly, oh no, my MacBook went. So I'm going to quickly look at the chat and see any questions, if any questions pop up here. Where is it? Okay, so I think it'll take a little bit of time for the chat to catch up with the video because there's a desync or lag. But if you guys have any questions, I'm going to take a little break right now. So let me know if you have any questions, either here in the YouTube chat or in the Discord. I'll see if my Mac can load it. For some reason, it keeps losing internet connection. I'm not sure why. That's really weird. Let me see. I'll look at it on my phone, actually. I can see the Discord there. Did you already explain how the Material Randomizer works? So no, the Material Randomizer, I will explain that soon. I'll have to, this is just this feature here, and I'll have to create a file for it. That should take a little while, not too long. I have an example on my desktop that I can pull up, or on my Mac I can pull up on my desktop here. But I'm gonna get to that next. So the plan is to go from just a randomized collection like we have now to enable rarity, enable logic, and then enable materials. So that'll add more and more layers of complexity, and I'll show you guys how that affects the number of combinations that we have here. So that's sort of the plan, at least. So I'm gonna get to Material Randomizer soon. Yep, yeah, I'll go into depth about the Material Randomizer as well. I see three comments there, so that's good. A lot of interest. All right, let me bring up. Yeah, it's really weird. I'm gonna restart my computer here. I don't get why that's losing connection like that. That's kind of disappointing. Awesome. All right, so I think that's it. I'm gonna let everyone in the Discord know that we're live right now. Thank you, newbie. Crypto LB. Thank you for the compliment. One second. All right, my Mac is restarted now. Should be loading. Let me. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad this is. It's really heartening to hear how many people find this thing useful and like make a. I don't know. I don't want to call it a hobby because that's like, it doesn't feel like it anymore. But that's really sweet. Thank you. Do I have any more features I want to add? I think you're really close to the final version. Do you have any new new features in mind that you would like to add? So, new features. Yes, I do have some features. Maybe not like. I'll talk a little bit about the features at the end. So there's some big features that I want to announce at the end of the video, and I'll explain a bit what that is and how that will affect Blend My NFTs and add to it. But I think Blend My NFTs is pretty much like, it's solid. I think the logic still needs a little bit of tweaking to get it just right. There's still some issues with that. And then I think that's it, honestly. I think that's it. Maybe some little UI tweaks here and there, but I think it's pretty solid. There's not really much I'm looking to add. There are a couple things, but it's I think it's pretty solid right now. Awesome. All right, give me 1 second. Forgot to do this earlier. All right, there we go. Okay, so I have the live stream chat in Discord on my phone here, so I can take a look, and on my computer, so just as a backup, I guess. That's awesome. Go back here and see. Okay, so my computer's working now. or my MacBook's working now. That's good. I don't know why. Maybe I left a port on or something like that. I can't remember. I'm doing like some web development stuff on here as well for a new website. So that's a surprise at the end. But I think it's messing up with my internet. So let me go back here. Polygon metadata option. So Polygon runs on, I think it's ERC 1155. I think that's the number. I haven't been able to find any good documentation for that standard, for that NFT standard. So I know there's ERC 721 and there's like 721A and a few others, but I haven't found like a JSON scheme that I can follow to add to blend my NFTs. So if anyone, I think there's a GitHub issue with like someone linking to it. I got to look at it again, but I think, yeah, so Polygon, okay, so someone said here, Polygon uses the same ERC 721 standard, so that should work. I've never done a Polygon NFT collection before, so I can't say for sure. If you have 3 different body types, each with 5 color variants, instead of having 15 body types, I could have 3 collections within body type, each with its own weight. Yes, I'm gonna say yes, Eric Garcia. I think so. Yeah. So you can have your own. I think so. If I understand what you're saying, maybe I hope I'm understanding what you're saying. But I think so. I think you're right. Okay. So I'm gonna move on. So let me just recap what we've done. So let me bring back that folder from the trash if I can. I can't remember where it went. Okay, so we've created an NFT collection. We just finished. If you're on YouTube watching this after it's streamed, go back. You probably already watched what happened. Anyway, so we've created an NFT collection. Now notice that none of these features down here were enabled. So what do these do? So rarity, I hinted at this before. Rarity is just a way to weight the number of times a certain attribute will appear. So it's very particular in how you want to do this. So this number right here, represents a percentage out of 100 that you want this specific variant to appear in your NFT collection. In this case, let me go back here and rename all of these because it'll make it more apparent. Medium, large, sorry, all this boring naming stuff. I know it's tedious, but it makes this whole thing possible, so it's very, very important. Okay, so we have these different collections here, and let's say we want one to be like really rare. So we have 3. So let's say we want this one to appear, this cube, the really small cube, to appear 50% of the time. Let's make it 50% of the time. So this will be really, really common. Let's make the next one 30. Let's make it 40. We'll make this appear 40% of the time, and the last one, so the really large cube, to appear 10% of the time. And that's it. So that's all we're gonna do in this scenario. So you can add rarity to every single attribute, but remember that rarity is relative to that specific attribute. So each attribute has 100%. You have to break down that 100% into different bytes like I showed here with 50, 40, and 10. So that'll add up to 100, I think, if I did that right. Someone correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. That'll add up to 100, 100%. So that will be your NFT collection. So 50% of your NFTs approximately will have small cube, 40% will have the medium cube, and only 10% will have that really large cube. Now, you can have different numbers there. You can set this to 500 or 5,000 or something crazy, whatever you want. Because it's percentage based, you just have to keep in mind the math about it, the math for it. I can't remember specifically what the math was, but if you go to the GitHub repository, I have it all written down here in notes on rarity and weighted variance. So you can see here, whatever, 50 plus 50 plus 50 equals 1,000. So you can have different numbers of it doesn't have to add up to 100. That's the thing. But to make it simpler and to make it easier to understand what is happening, have it always add up to 100, so that you know that, okay, this NFT, like large, is going to appear about 10% of the time. Now, a really important thing to understand about Blend My NFTs, and I've seen a lot of people who think that this is who have a not a hard time, what's it called? Who have a different idea about what's happening behind the scenes. So Blend My NFTs, when it goes through here, it has to select one of these variants for each of these attributes up here. It always has to select one because that's what makes an NFT. It has to select either cube small, cube medium, cube large, or for sphere, it has to select either sphere small, medium, large, and for torus, same thing, small, medium, large. So it has to select one of those. What we're doing with these percentages is we're saying we're gonna weight that so that this medium cube appears 40% of the time. This small cube appears 50% of the time. This large cube appears 10% of the time. Now, that is not, what was the word? That's not definite. That's not going to happen. It's not going to be exactly 10% of the time. It can never be 10% of the time that large cube will appear. It will be about 10% of the time that cube will appear. The reason why I say about is because it's probabilistic. If I'm saying that right, it's probabilistic. So it will be randomly selected, and if you have a large enough collection with a large enough number of combinations, you will get about 40% of your NFTs that have, or 50% of your NFTs that will have small cube, about 40% that will have medium cube, and about 10% that will have large cube. So I think I've talked about that far too long. To make this a little more apparent, let's increase this to 5, and let's make the number of large cubes only 5%. Now, remember, whenever you set rarity, you have to enable rarity, because if that checkbox isn't checked, this will just be 33.333, 33.333, and 33.333. So they'll be selected randomly. So you have to enable that rarity in order for those numbers to take effect. Now, because we have 0 here, it tells Blend My NFTs that I don't really care about how these are selected, so just randomly select them. And the same thing for this torus down here. So now that we have rarity set for this cube, let's go ahead and create the data. We'll go down here to generate. To make it simpler and quicker, let's just close these, and we're only going to do images, so it's just really visual. So let's create the first batch. We'll generate that out any second. There we go. Let's go back here. We'll go to this folder, generated NFT batches. We'll go to batch 1, images, and let's see. So we said that the large cube, which is, just so that we can reference it, so large cube is that one, so that's large cube. This is the medium cube, so that'll appear 45% of the time. 50% of the time it should be this small cube. So the vast majority of the time it will be this small cube and this medium cube here. So let's take a look and see if we can spot that. So right off the bat we can see, okay, that's the medium cube, because that's it's not big. So that's the large cube. Okay, so that's cool. So we have one instance of the large cube so far and one instance of the medium cube. And if we go to the next one, it's the small cube again. Is that right? No, medium cube, small cube, medium cube, and yeah, okay, that's it. So in this example, because we only have 7 NFTs that are generated, that percentage does not appear all the time. So let's go back here. If we go to the NFT data, we'll notice that another file has been generated. So this is the rarity data, and it will show you the true rarity that is exported by Blend My NFTs. So it'll tell you that for this small cube here, which we set to be 50% of the time we'll have that, it only appeared about 28.57% of the time. This medium cube, however, which we set to 45%, appeared 64.29% of the time. And this large cube appeared, that we set to 5%, appeared 7% of the time. So, and if we look down here, it will be a very similar story for the other ones. It'll just split it, keep it as close as possible to 33, 33, 33, 33. And the reason we're seeing discrepancies here is because we simply don't have enough combinations, and the number of NFTs that we set to generate is off by a bit. So these numbers here and these numbers here drastically affect the rarity, especially in smaller NFT collections. And yeah, so moral of the story, if you want to do rarity and you want certain variants to appear a certain number of times, make sure you have a lot of combinations, because if you don't, Blend My NFTs won't have enough combinations, a large enough combination pool of NFTs to select from, so that it can give you that percentage that you're looking for. So in this case, because we only have 14 NFTs, we're going to get some really wonky numbers that don't represent our NFT collection. But it tried to match that percentage really well. As we can see, like, this large cube only appeared 7% of the time. That's pretty close to 5. So it did a really good job. It's just there's that limitation that we have a really small NFT collection here. So that's the moral of the story. You have more variants, more attributes, you'll have more combinations, and you'll have a better representation of your rarity here. And I don't think I explained these numbers. So this is the percentage, the actual percentage of NFTs that have cube small. This is the actual percentage that has cube medium, actual percentage that has cube large. This number down here, the second number, is the number of times that appeared. So cube small appeared four times in 4 NFTs. Cube medium appeared in 9 NFTs. Cube large appeared in 1 NFT. And again, so like 1 is 7%, 7.14% of our entire NFT collection. So just 1 NFT is 7%. So if we wanted to get even close to an accurate representation of the rarities that we set here, we need at least 100 combinations. We need more than that. We need like 1,000 number of maximum NFTs right here in order to get that 100 really representative of the rarity. So the reason I went overboard and tried to explain this as detailed as possible is because it's a really hard concept to get, and I understand that, because it took me forever to code this thing. But I hope by explaining that in such gruesome detail gives you a better understanding of this, because it's tough to understand. But anyway, so I think I've talked a bit too much about rarity. Yeah, let's see some questions. So does anyone have any questions about rarity itself, how it works, what the percentages mean, how all that works? I'm gonna have the Discord open on my left here, the chat open on my computer here, and let's read some questions really quickly. Thank you so much. Yeah, the Discord, it's quite an amazing place. There's some really awesome people there. It's fascinating how much it's grown, and all the people that are helping out there. It's amazing. That's awesome. I hope I don't bore anyone, because the more detail, as you said, the more detail the better, especially with these complicated topics like rarity. Like it took me a week of planning just to understand how the math behind it works. Yeah. Do we have to duplicate the model to add another material? Could you explain that a little more, Dark Cloud? to add another material, we don't have to. So when I duplicated these collections here, I was just doing that out of simplicity so that I could demonstrate this. What you'll do is you'll create a new collection, name it Taurus extra large number 3_0, and then you'll create that object. So if it's like a rocket ship or a big building behind the scenes or something like that, you'll like build that out and build the materials for it in that collection, and you can add it there. So let me delete that. But yeah, so I was just duplicating these just to quickly have something to show you guys. Oh, no worries about the rarity. Oh, it's all good. Leave this up, please. Yes. Oh, yeah. So the video itself, this will be live, or this will be on our channel after it's completed. This will be uploaded to YouTube, so you guys can watch it. Yeah. So the whole purpose of this video is to go through the entire process and just a complete walkthrough, so that you guys understand everything in as much hours, in as many hours as it takes, basically. I'm trying to read quickly here. Lots of questions. Separate the models to make different attributes. What is the best way to incorporate the animations? So we worked on a collection called Vox Koodles, and the way they did it, I think, the way we had it set up was, you have like a base model with the animation. I can't remember. So for each attribute, so you have one attribute, let's say call the attribute base model. So it's your person. And you set up one object that's like the person walking or running or whatever you want to do. And you have it so that that person is, let's say this has some kind of animation on it. So you would just duplicate that into these different collections like I showed you earlier, and then make whatever changes you want to that object. So you would add like a sword or I don't know, a motorcycle or something crazy to that person walking along, and then you would add whatever, you would change it to whatever you wanted. I would ask Devlin in our server about that in particular, because I don't really know Blender very well. I'm not good with rigging or anything like that. As you guys can probably tell, I can just make some cubes and basic shapes. Highlight the error in Blender Outliner. That would be really cool. So Rexus Sand says, maybe one lifesaver feature might be when you got some error from the script, highlight the error in the Blender Outliner. Yeah, that'd be really cool. So I'm working on making the error messages in this version 4 a little friendlier, so that you know like what collection is wrong. So it will say down here, if you go to Window, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Go to Window, hit Toggle System Console. This is really important if you're going to do this stuff for clients. If you have like client work and you want to debug really quickly and understand what's going on, look at this console. Pull it up before you start rendering, because once you start rendering with the script, it will freeze Blender, and it will tell you, like right here we have this message here, like Taurus 4, this is an empty collection. It's been identified as empty. So I deleted Taurus 4, but I forget where I was going with this. This will give you like updates and all that stuff, and we'll give you the full error messages and the traceback loops, the traceback paths in Python. So it's a bit more technical. You have to know like what Python is, or how Python's traceback stuff works and what files are what. But I've added more error messages to this thing. So this is from Blend My NFTs. So all the green stuff here, basically all the text here is all from Blend My NFTs, and whenever there's an error message here that like something's wrong with your collection, it will appear here in this console. Let me see. I'll I'll answer 2 more questions, and then let's move on to logic. Dreaded logic. Let's see. Hey, hello, Andres. How's it going? Can blend my NFTs accidentally create duplicates, or does it reject DNA with duplicate attributes? So let's talk about duplicates just for a quick second. Let me see up here. Maybe it won't show it, or maybe I can't find it. But yeah, so blend my NFTs sorry, let me restart that sentence. Blend my NFTs cannot generate duplicates. It's mathematically impossible. It won't allow it. You will get, before you generate duplicates, it will never generate duplicates, but mathematically, if it were to generate duplicates, it would not generate 7 NFTs here. So we would not get 7 NFTs here. And I can prove that because if we go, let's increase this collection size to 27, and the first batch will be 27 as well. So we're going to have 27 NFTs that are generated, and this is the maximum number of NFTs that we're going to generate. So it should be possible, right? With this rarity and all that stuff, right? So let's create data. And it's running for a long time, and that's because it should be running into an issue where it isn't able to generate that number of NFTs, right? Because it's mathematically impossible. You can't have, out of 27 NFTs, you can't have 50% of them with small cube, 45% of them with medium cube, or 5% of them with large cube. It just won't work. So Blender's crashed. It's stuck in like an endless loop, which is why it's really important to follow that. Oh, I hope I saved my file there. Oh, I didn't save my file. Oh no. Which is why it's really important to follow that maximum number of NFTs. Awesome. So I think I'll answer one more question. Is it possible to render using Blender in command line and your plugin? Yes. So if you go to Blender Python API docs, 3.1 docs.blender.org/API current index.html. Just look up Blender Blender API documentation, Blender Python API documentation. Go to tips and tricks and scroll down to, I think it's should be here. It should be somewhere on this page. Blender without Blender's user interface. So this is using it with the command line basically. So you have to, I forget how it works. You have to CD into with the command line. You have to CD into Blender, into Blender's install path or something like that. I can't remember. It explains it in here, but you CD into wherever Blender is located or add it to your system environment path, and then run this kind of stuff. And you can run. So this is. It activates Python, and then you can run a certain script. So I don't think this will work with Blend My NFTs right now. A member of our community did create the ability to export the settings that you currently have set up, so you can run them with Blend My NFTs on the command line. And they actually did implement like a command line interface for Blend My NFTs. There's a section of it in our documentation here. Running Blend My NFTs headlessly. So I haven't gone through this. I think I tested it once or twice when they first pushed this, and that's about it. So I would read over these 2 links here. So Blend My NFTs, the very bottom, running Blend My NFTs headlessly, and this docs.org Blender stuff here. So I use Blender without its user interface. So just look that up. It should be the same. It should be the first thing that comes up on Google. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. So and that'll walk you through how to run Blender like that. Okay. So I think that's it. That's it for questions right now. I've talked too much. Let's move on. And I love answering questions. I could probably do this all night, but I want to get through this tutorial so that people, or so that we have this up. I guess I don't know. All right. So let me turn this off here. So it's actually kind of good that we got rid of that Taurus thing because I didn't have autosave on. Recover, autosave. I can't remember. I don't know how. It'll take me too long. Anyway, so let's close this up. We'll go to create NFT data. We're gonna ignore rarity for now. We've already done rarity. Let's do logic. Awesome. So for logic, the way this is gonna work, I think it's selected in the viewport. What does that mean? Oh no. So logic, that should add another object. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so logic is a way to set rules for your NFT collection. So let's say you don't want small cube here. We got to rename these. Oh no. Medium, large. This is painful. Sorry. I should save my. I don't know why I don't have auto save. Oh, I know why. I was messing around with compiling Blender as a Python module, and to do that you have to uninstall Blender and install Blender so many times. It is so painful to do that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't even work with the newest versions. For some reason, someone went through all the effort to make this script that can compile Blender into a perfect Python package that will work in Python, so you can run it and import it into Python. It was beautiful. It works on 3.1. For some reason it doesn't work on 3.2, or it works on Blender 3 and not 3.1. I can't remember. I spent hours trying to get that to work. For some reason it didn't work. I don't know why. I don't know where I was going with this. I'm sorry. That was a tangent. And oh yeah, so I had to install like these weird versions of Blender from their websites. It was a whole thing. It took me too long and it got nowhere. So that's why I don't have autosave on. So let me save this really quick because we got the names correct. So in order to add a new item, I didn't know this, but in order to add a new item to this logic list, you have to have one item selected in the viewport. For some reason, otherwise it won't add from the beginning, I think. Or will, I don't know why, it's weird. But if you're having issues where it's not adding an item here, select an item in the viewport and then press the plus button. So let's go back. Here, we'll create the first item in the list. So the way logic is set up right now, and I say this because I'm gonna change it in the future and add better ways to handle this. So let's first do the never with rule, because that works. I know there's a lot of confusion with logic. I know it doesn't always work and stuff, and I feel you. I gotta work on it and make it better. I think I found a better system that is from the Hashlip's art engine, where it's like if then else kind of logic. So basically Python stuff. I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place. But anyway, I'm rambling again. So the way it works, think of it like a sentence. So this field right here, this text field, is a list of items from our scene right here. So this can be, I think that's thunder. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's thunder outside. So this can be cube. So let's just copy and paste that. Paste that there. So that's the first cube. It'll help to expand this. And in the sentence, we want to say, okay, cube small will never be with small sphere. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, there we go. And that's how logic works. That's how it's supposed to work. So never with rule is pretty, it works. It's pretty solid, I feel. I don't think many people have complained about it recently. If you have, I'm sorry, I haven't paid much attention to the Discord lately. I've been busy with other stuff. But the never with rule works pretty well. So it's just like a sentence, cube small one will never appear with sphere small one. So let's open up the system console there. Let's minimize that. I'm going to save this because you never know. And let's create the data. Data's created, and it'll be more visually, you'll be able to understand this with the images a little better. So let's create that. And the cool thing is, so I don't know if you saw it, or maybe it was too fast, but for me to pull it up. But as it was generating, it generated the first one here, and then the second one, and it gives you the time. So as it's generating, it'll give you the current NFT that it's working on. So we see NFT number 1 is being worked on, number 2 is being worked on, number 3 is being worked on, and it'll give you some more information about what's in that NFT right here. So this is the DNA code that I talked about earlier, what attributes and what variants are selected, and so on for each of them. And it'll tell you if an image is being generated, when a 3D model is being generated, when an animation is being generated. Awesome. So that's it. So we created our data and we generated the first batch. So let's go here. We'll go to the first one, check out the images, and let's see what happens. So let's reference what happened, what appeared here. So we said that a cube small will never appear with a sphere small. And let's look at, let's get rid of that. Oh, you know what? Let's hold on. Let's delete this and let's start from scratch. Oh, because I have that open somewhere. Let's delete this and start from scratch, because sometimes it I don't know, images like sort of cross over. It's weird. So let's just start this from scratch. We'll create the data. Creates the data. Hello. And it crashed. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so because I'm streaming with OBS here, Blender doesn't like it when I'm streaming and trying to do like these stuff. I don't know why, it just doesn't work very well. So I saved, luckily, and let's create the data one more time. There we go. And let's generate images one more time. There we go. Open up the batch 1, go to images again. Awesome. There we go. Oh, I was wondering why Torus wasn't showing up there. It's because we don't have a Torus anymore, because I didn't save it. Give me a mini panic attack there. All right. That's good. I'm glad that's working. So we said the small cube will never appear with the small sphere. Let's see what we get. So right here, I don't know if this is, let's just double check to make sure this is the small, this isn't the small cube. Okay, small cube looks like that, dead center of the screen. That looks like the dead center of the screen, but that's a medium sphere. If we go to the next image as well, we'll get a larger cube and a medium sphere as well. If we go to the next one, we'll get a small sphere but a large cube. So we're never going to get super small, where'd it go? A small cube. We're never going to get a small cube like that with a small sphere like that. And it'd be more impressive if I had more variants to show you that would be the case, but I deleted this, the save file. I didn't save the Torus example, so that sucks. But the more you have, the more combinations you have, the more impressive it would look. But yeah, that's it for now. That's it. So that's it for logic. So we have, you've set that rule. So small cube will never appear with small spheres. So that's awesome. So that's a way that we can sort of organize our collection and set rules like that. So if we want to say, okay, we want small cube to always appear with small sphere. So whenever a small cube is selected, the small sphere will also be selected. And this is just another rule. Let's go back here and delete all that. So we have our new output file, I guess. So to refresh this so we don't have to worry about stuff writing over itself. Let's generate that. So images again, once again. Okay, that's good. Open that up. And then we see here, all right. So yeah, this is one of the problematic rules. So it doesn't always appear for some reason, but it appears there for some reason. So I think I know why this happens occasionally. It's because it tries to match it with a cube, but for some reason it doesn't select the other two cubes. I don't know. So this is one of the reasons. So we have a small sphere here, but no cube appears. And I think it's doing what it's told to do, obviously, because I coded it. But so the small cube will only appear with the sphere, with the small sphere. So when the cube is selected, yes, that sphere does appear. So it is following the rule, but whenever a small sphere appears, for some reason, I don't know, a cube doesn't appear. Oh wait, no, maybe that's why, because I didn't have those two cubes selected. Those two cubes were not in the scene. Okay, so that makes sense. That was my bad. So I'm gonna stop bad-mouthing my code and fix my Blender issue here. So that's good. So there are some issues with logic, as I've talked about before, and I'm gonna work on fixing those. But for now, I think this works. Yeah, okay, there we go. So that's a better example. So because we only had one cube that was in the scene, that's why we were seeing those empty spaces. So when the small cube is selected, the small sphere will, it will only appear with the small sphere. So that's perfect, so that works. So let me talk a bit about logic and what happens when you start adding in lots of rules like that. So I think I've spoken to a few people that have hundreds of rules. So like 500, I think, was the most I've heard about. And first of all, if you're going to do that, use the JSON file for multiple reasons. One, because it's really easy to just go here and just delete them by clicking that. And number two is because Blender crashes, obviously, and it's really hard to cope with the fact that you've done like lots of rules and you've filled in all these things with the names. And you've added like list items, and you've added more objects there to work with the rules. I can't remember exactly how all the syntax is. You can find the syntax for logic in the GitHub repository in the README file here. So we go down to the thing right there. So this is logic, so it'll tell you the JSON scheme right there and how to organize it and all that stuff. And it'll also tell you like the limitations of each rule, how they work, what the logic is behind it. And if you really want to get into it and you want to know like exactly what the code behind logic is, and trust me, you probably don't, but if you really want to, you can come down here. These are some helper functions right up here in Python that I made just to help convert strings and data types. These are the rule checks. So these check if the given NFT collection, given NFT follows the rules that you set. And down here, this is the actual magic, I guess. And we can see the specific rule type. So this will actually be the logic for each rule, for each logic rule. So we have never with here, only with. This is probably where I'm going to start. By making it easier to create rules. So if you want to get into it, it's here. It's all open source. Obviously, you can check it out. But again, if you have a lot of rules, use the logic.json file, just because it will save you like so much headache in case Blender crashes, you forget to save, or something happens like your mean little sibling like deletes all your rules like that. So that's my word of advice. So use the JSON logic file. So yeah, so that's logic. Let's take a little break, and I'll ask some questions, and after I'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll move on to the Material Randomizer, or the material enable materials here. That'll be the next feature. Yeah, so let's have some questions. I got YouTube up here so I can see you guys, and I got Discord over here so I can see everyone in the live stream chat. Awesome. All right, fire away. I'll try my best to answer. So I know logic isn't quite the perfect feature, but it works. It will be improved. I'll try to improve it in the future. Yeah. No questions? Does anyone have any questions about logic or anything like that? Everything so well. Oh, thank you, Dark Cloud. I feel like I'm explaining it too much, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge where people like the amount of detail in a given what's it called, tutorial. Because in the YouTube videos, I feel like I tend to cut a lot of the details out and make it very simplified, but yeah, I think these live streams will help if you really want to get into it and learn a lot about it really well, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Just want to figure out if I'm better off using logic, rarity, or materials. The same purpose. So I think I get what you're saying. So you can use rarity, logic, and materials interchangeably, basically. Like you can use materials and rarity, you can use logic and rarity, or just logic, or just rarity. The beautiful thing about how I have it set up, and I want to find NFTs. The beautiful thing about how the current or the new DNA system works is I want to brag about this because it's a pretty cool system I set up here. Okay, so there's this function in the DNA generator called generate NFTs, or generate NFT DNA. And if we scroll down, single complete DNA. So this is a function that creates a single NFT. So it selects the variants for each NFT. In here, it says if there isn't any rarity selected by the user, then just create a random DNA and then return it to this function down here, which creates the DNA list. And then this, so going back to before when someone asked, is it possible for duplicates to happen? No, and this is why on line 220 of DNA generator as of that date, as of May 27, 2022, this is the reason why there isn't any duplication. I don't know what that does, honestly. That's something I grabbed from Stack Overflow a while ago, so I don't want to get into breaking that down. But if you're interested, that's where the duplication part is handled. And I think that's also where that loop comes in, where it tries to create those NFT, those DNA combinations, and then gets stuck in a loop. So that's the problem, and I think I should probably put like a thing there where if it loops over too many times, it cancels everything and throws an error. But yeah, so this function, back to this function, it says if the user has not selected rarity, create a single random DNA. If enable rarity, create a randomized DNA. So this is the rarity.py file, and it reads the rarity values in this collection here, and then weights how those DNA are selected, how the variants are selected for a given attribute slot. Ooh, do you guys hear that thunder? There's a lot of thunder outside. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, and then so again down here, if the user selects enable logic, it will logicify the DNA and look at the rules that you selected. And then if someone selected the materials, it will also add materials and apply the materials to that DNA. So it sort of works down like a tree. So create a random DNA, add rarity to that DNA, and then add logic to that DNA, and then add materials to that DNA, sort of filtering it down so that it's like the exactly what you want. The only issue is the logic. Everything else works perfectly fine. Yeah. Anyway, I think I talked a lot about that. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on this. I think once the NFT world gets like simplified so that more people understand like the basic concepts behind it, and I think there are a few decent tutorials out there that do explain it, but I think it needs to get more simplified so that more people understand it. But yeah, it's really really complicated. Somehow the Discord link is not working for me, but I will be joining it. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so the Discord link is right there. It should work. Torrin. I am human. Yeah, that should work. I gotta pretend I'm not a bot. I mean, I'm not a bot. I'm human. I think I'm getting a little tired. Oh, verification. Yeah, I think so. We have like some verification stuff for our Discord server just to protect our server from like bot attacks and raids and all that stuff. I don't know if any of you know, but there's like the NFT space and the crypto space are like really at risk of like huge bots swarming the server, sort of swarming servers. And we've seen like one server, I'm not going to name them, but I suspect they were using a bot farm, and they added like 50,000 bots to their server just to boost their numbers before an NFT mint. So we have like really strict requirements for a Discord server just so that like everyone's safe. There's no spam links and all that stuff. So I think you need like an email. I can't remember what the requirements were, but you need an email, and then you got to check the verified checkbox thing. Yeah, so that's it. Awesome. All right, I think I've rambled on enough about that. Let's go to the next feature, which is materials. A lot of people want to see the material randomizer and how that works. Again, if you have any questions after the stream or like that, the Discord link's down below, right here somewhere. And if you want to follow along and follow along with what I'm doing here, go to this link right here in the description and download the code base just like that and install it into Blender, like I showed earlier. We also have Twitter there if you guys are into that. We don't really tweet that often, but yeah, we're there. Anyway, all right, I'm talking too much. Let's move on to materials. So let's turn this into the materials view because it's cool, I guess. And let's go up here. So the reason if you remember, because this was like 95 minutes ago, I think YouTube said, the reason I moved this cube up here was because of the materials randomizer. So let's enable materials here, and it says it asks for materials file. So let's create a materials file first of all. So what is a materials file? So I've just opened up a program called Visual Studio Code. It's something called an IDE, or an integrated developer environment. It lets you write code really quickly and really nicely. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if we go new file, we say Python. So create a new Python file. Allow access, I guess. Okay, that was weird. That's never happened before. And it will create a new Python file. So we can start typing like print, and it'll come up here. So we see that print comes up, and then we can add like a value like hello world, and it's got like some cool syntax highlighting here. So think of Visual Studio Code and any integrated developer environment as like a super overpowered text editor, basically. Someone a while ago gave me crap for calling it a text editor. It's not. It's so much more than that, but just think of it like a text editor for now. We're going to be creating a file called Materials Tutorial. Create it? Or let's just create a new text file. So let's file, new text file. And this IDE is open source, by the way. Visual Studio Code is open, free to download and all that stuff. So just search up Visual Studio Code, not... there's two versions. There's like Studio Code or Visual Code. I can't remember what it was. And they're two different things. So make sure you get Visual Studio Code. So here we can select a language. So we're going to choose JSON for this language. JSON is JavaScript. I'm going to get this wrong. JavaScript orient. I don't remember what it was, but it's basically for JavaScript. But it's widely used for like APIs and the web, transmitting data between different languages like Python, JavaScript, C, C#, and all that stuff. So all these languages have modules to interact with this specific language. So it's kind of like a universal thing that's used to store data between languages. So we can just start typing. So this is a dictionary, and it's two curly braces, and this is what we use to define an object inside JSON. Now, it's just a convenient way to store the data that we have here. So if we go to the GitHub repository, blend my NFTs. I should just leave this open. I don't know why I keep closing it. Save on all that Chrome RAM, I guess. And we scroll down. Let's scroll down to. Oh, I don't think I didn't add it to the table of contents yet. So let's scroll down all the way down. We'll even search for it. Okay, what was that? And let's search for materials. There we go. Okay, so search for Material Randomizer or randomizing materials. I haven't decided on a name for this yet. I don't know why it's different in the documentation and then in Blender and in YouTube tutorials. But the Material Randomizer. So to enable Material Randomizers, obviously check the material thing. We're going to be using the JSON format here. So let's copy this and paste this into our JSON file. So after we've done this, let's save that. Save as. Save this to our desktop, and we'll save this as materials tutorial. Okay, so we have that saved, and let's sort of get into it, I guess. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to explain this here. Let me move this up. Whoa. Delete these. Okay. So right off the bat, so this looks complicated, confusing, and all that stuff. So it's not complicated. It's not confusing at all. It'll work. It'll make sense. Let's go through it. So right off the bat, this is this. It's just different a little bit because it's got that name. So we can just delete that because it's just a copy of this. It's just another example I threw in there just that it'd be cool, I guess, or more you guys would understand it more. So this is the name of a variant. So let's say we want to apply, like, I don't know, when large cube is selected, so we'll make large cube, let's actually do this. So we'll make small cube only appear 1% of the time, medium cube appear 1% of the time, and large cube appear 98% of the time. So we'll get large cube like 98% of the time. That's a lot. So let's select a cube, this actual object here. We'll go down to materials. Actually, no, we'll select this top cube here, because this is the cube I want to create the materials for. So let's move that out of the way, right there. I forget how the camera controls work on Blender. There we go. Okay, so that's that cube. So this is our material cube. So this is like out of the way. And we're creating the materials for this cube, but we're just creating it on the cube, I guess. So let's create a new one. We'll call this one, I don't know, purple _1 0. So yes, materials have rarity. Materials also have order numbers. The rarity, the way it works, I'll explain that later. I think it'll be easier to, just like rarity itself, it'll be easier to understand how rarity in materials works once you understand how materials itself works. So we've created this new material. Let's go ahead and create it. So we got like purple, cool. It's purple color. For every material, for every single, for every material inside, let me pull up another thing here. This will be outliner, and then Blender file. Then pull up this materials collection right here. So every material in here that you want to use for your NFT collection needs to be named like purple 1, orange 2, green 3, and so on and so on. That's hard to say, hard to come up with examples. Yeah, so every material that you want to use for your NFT collection needs to be very, like the exact same naming as a variant. So we have purple. Let's go ahead and create another one. We'll call this, let's say green _3 _ 2 _0, and then we'll set this to green, some kind of green value. Wow, cool. So talented. And then let's create this one. We'll call this one, oh, I don't know. What are we gonna call it? Orange. Let's do an orange. 3, orange 0, like that. And let's create an orange, like that. Awesome. And this should refresh here. Yeah, okay, so we have green 2, orange 3, purple 1. It's alphabetic, so it orders them weirdly. No worries. Let's add one more. Whoops. We'll add one more here. And we'll call this like, we'll do blue 4 0. And then change this to blue. So this is very, very thrilling and exciting stuff, guys. I hope you're paying attention. And then for the heck of it, let's go crazy. We'll add one more, and we'll do red material. So red 5 0. Okay, so we have 5 materials. Perfect. Let's go ahead and delete them from this materials object, because we don't really need to have this object. We don't really need to have any materials on this object in particular. They're all going to be within the scene. So you just saw I deleted those materials, but they're actually still here. They're in the scene. If I need to delete them from the scene, I can like select them here. Let's do it with that material, and then like I can actually delete it like that. Right click and then delete it. But the materials are still there, so I can add it back here and select, oh, look, I have all my materials here. So I can select purple. I can select purple again, but you guys get the point. You might have caught on by now, but for a given object, so let's say this large cube here, let me navigate down here. So for this large cube, what Blend My NFTs does is it says, okay, we got all these materials here, and you'll define those materials inside this JSON file, and you'll be like, oh, okay, so we gotta apply this one material to this green cube. So Blend My NFTs literally clicks that button, or sorry, it literally adds a material to that slot, clicks that button, adds the assigns a material data block to that item, and then clicks render. And once it's done clicking render, it removes the material from that object, because the next NFT might have a different material selected. So the next one might have, okay, it might have like green, for example, and then it'll render that out, delete it, and then move on to the next one. And it does that for every object that you apply it to. So let's, because we're gonna, for this example, we're gonna do the large cube. Let's copy that name of that collection. We'll go back over here. So now that we have, just to recap, we have all our materials in the scene. So this is in the outliner, and then in the Blender file display mode, and then in the materials sort of collection, I guess you could call it. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. We're going to fill in this value right here, this string, with the same, like the exact same name as that large cube. And then from there, let's delete this list for now, because we don't really need to have that filled with anything. So we're just going to leave that blank. The next thing that's really important is we're going to add materials to this thing called material list. So let's create a string. So we create a string with double question marks. And then we're going to go back here. We're going to select the name of all of the materials and just paste them in a string. Don't forget the commas in between the items, because those are really important. It defines like the end of an item and the beginning of a new item. So let's go ahead and paste in, that's the wrong one. We got purple 1, green 2. So we got our second material there. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm saying, okay, so for this variant, for this collection, apply randomly each of these materials in this list. Now that's really important, because every material that's in that list will be applied to this entire collection. So every collection in every object in that collection will have a material that's applied to it. Now you guys probably noticed some issues with that, and I'll get into that in a second, where you have like different objects that you don't want materials to be applied to, and that's fine. Right now, let's just focus on adding materials to this materials list and do that. So it's pretty boring. Let's just do this. We'll add that there. Add another comma. That's number 3. Let's go number 4. And oops. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Control V. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I use Mac and Windows, so it's like it's hard going back from like Control and Command for like copy and pasting. It confuses my brain sometimes. But yeah, I can do so. Like I've done coding on Windows a couple times, and I'm currently building out the website, part of our website on Windows, and I can like sync into Windows copy command structure. Like I don't know how to explain it. And then like when I move back to my Mac, I can't do it properly, like command like copy and paste. But then I sync into my Mac, and then I go back to Windows. It's weird. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So we have our materials list filled out here. So each of these materials will be applied to this this variant here. Just making sure my YouTube is still working. So now that we have that done, let's go ahead and save this materials file. Save that. Go back to our desktop, and what I'm going to do, oh, that's weird. Okay, let me find that file again, because I'm not sure where that's saved to. Save as, it should be desktop. maybe it wasn't desktop. I don't know where that was saving to. That's weird. All right, so let's save it to the desktop. There we go. Okay, so it's at the desktop now. I'm just going to copy the this is a pain. So I'm going to copy the save. Nope. The save path. Or you know what? Never mind. I can locate it in Blender. So we're gonna find that file in Blender. So we're here. We're at the desktop. We're gonna go down and look for .json. So materials tutorial.json. We'll select that file that we just created. Spent all that time doing with the materials and everything. So let's create the data. Create that. It works. Thank goodness. It's always satisfying when stuff works and relieving, because you never know what shenanigans will happen, what shenanigans Blender will pull on you. So let's go back to the blend my NFTs output thing and see what happened. So we go back to the first batch, and there should be a difference. So we notice here that there's a colon right in the middle of our DNA now. So what that colon does is it represents the split between the normal DNA that we've spent so much time talking about up until now and the split between the materials DNA. So they're sort of like a separate but like very intertwined. This column, so think of DNAs as DNA, I guess. You have columns, so right here 1 is column for the cube attribute, and 2 is the column for the what's it called, sphere attribute. And as you can probably guess, this 0 is the column, the materials column for the cube attribute, and the second one is the materials column for the sphere attribute. I think I got that correct. That's a mouthful. But basically it means that for this variant here, that's the material that was selected, and that's the material that was selected for that sphere. Now it says 0 because nothing was selected there. That's fine, because in the I'm trying to find it here really quickly. There we go. Because in this file we said that we only want the large cube, which is number 3, to have materials that are randomized. So if we go back to the batch, we can see that, oh, okay, let's look for number 3. So cube number 3 was selected here, and material number 4 was selected. So for NFT number 2, we'll have the third cube. We'll have a cube, a large cube, with the fourth material, which is blue. So let's do some like science. I think this is like the scientific method. I'm predicting that on NFT number 2, we'll have a large cube with a blue material applied to it. So let's render this out and generate that. Oh, I think I was right. Or maybe this is another one. Let's see. Let's check it out. So we'll go to images, and there we go. So the second one had blue selected on it. So that's pretty cool. So it cycled through the materials there, and it's a bit disappointing because, as you can see, like large cube wasn't selected as many times as we'd hoped, even though I set the rarity. Oh, I didn't set the rarity, that's why. I didn't enable rarity, so it chose them at random. So now that we do it, we should get large cube a larger percent of the time. Excuse me. So let's try this one more time. I'm going to delete the... close this. I'm going to delete this. And then let's run it one more time. So we'll create the data, create it now, generate. There we go. Excellent. I guess we got some more colors there as well, I think. So images. Hey, there we go. Okay, cool. So what I did was I tweaked it there so that large cube appears 98% of the time. The other cubes appear only like 1% of the time, so there's no way that we're going to get those cubes within this small sample size. Obviously there's a chance, but it's very small. And we can see here that we got blue. It cycles through blue, orange, and orange, or blue, orange, pink, and orange again. Awesome. And okay, so now that we have the materials showing up, let's talk a bit about how rarity works with these materials. Let me figure out the best way to explain this. So let me I'll pull up VS Code, and let's pull up that materials file here. So rarity works almost the same way that attributes work. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't like this system because it's too it's too messy for me, but it works. We'll leave it at that. So we can say we want purple to appear 80% of the time, or 180. We want purple to appear 80% of the time. Green to only appear, let's say 10% of the time. These are random numbers. It'll be purple like all the time. But this is just to get to that 100%. So 6. Oh, right. I'm not. Yeah. Let's change it to 5. And we also got to change this in Blender as well because this is in a separate file. 5, and then let's say 10% of the time. So that was in VS Code, so let's change this in Blender as well. And we will do this. Oh no. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so let's change these numbers here. So purple's first. We're going to set the purple rarity to 80%. We're going to set the green to, come on. We're going to set green, what do we say, 10? 10. Orange to 5. 5. Does that add up to 190? No, that doesn't add up to 100. Oh yeah, because we can just do 5. Okay, there we go. It'll work anyway, but I want it to be I want it to be nice and proper, I guess. I don't know. So we change green to be 5. So 5% of the time. Orange 5, so everything else is 5. So blue will be 5, 5, 5. Lots of 5s. And then red will be 5. Cool. Okay, so 80% of the time, which is going to be like all the percentage of the time because of the low combination count, we're going to see on this specific collection, we're going to see purple on the large cube. So let's go back to full screen. We'll go back here, we'll go out of there, back to desktop. We'll delete this just to reset everything. We're going to leave the materials tutorial JSON file. I'm getting sleepy. And then we'll create the data, generate the NFTs. I should save the file because this is going to crash real soon. And let's see what was selected there. Hold on. We generated the images. That should work. There we go. So I forget which one. Oh, purple. Okay, that's weird. Does that even work? I don't even remember if I added rarity. Maybe I went through this whole thing for nothing. I can't even remember if I added rarity to materials. That should work, right? Yeah, list of rarity, materials percentage. Okay, that's super weird. So maybe that's just like a quirk, I guess. I don't know. That should work. So the idea is the rarity, the materials will, like the Material Randomizer will read these rarity numbers at the end, And then from that list, it will select material. Yeah, so this is the code, and then it randomly selects, yeah, from that list of weights. Okay, that's strange. Yeah, maybe I have to take a look at that again. I don't know. That's kind of weird. That baffles me. But the rarity should work for the materials. Maybe my sample size here is too small and it's not showing for some reason. But yeah. So if anyone's concerned about the stream, if it's going to be archived later, yes, it's going to be uploaded to YouTube, so it'll be on our channel forever. Yeah, I think Daniel was asking about that. But yeah, if anyone's wondering, this will be uploaded to YouTube when it's done streaming, because this is streaming on YouTube, so it automatically does that for me. Awesome. So I think that's it. Besides from that fluke with the materials, I'm not sure why that was the way it was, because it should do the rarity. Ooh, we got a different cube there. Yeah, so that's kind of baffling. I don't know why. 80, 10, 10. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any questions? The floor is open for questions related to the Material Randomizer. Again, in Discord, in the live stream chat, or the YouTube chat. I'll answer some questions about the Material Randomizer. Take a little break, and then we'll do some more Q&A after that. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about like this cozy studio, our NFT collection, this cozy place, which you can find here, or blend my NFTs, how it got started, anything like that. Yeah. So any questions about the Material Randomizer right now? I know that was long. If you have any, if you need to look at it some more, there's documentation here. Make sure you're on the right branch, because I updated the documentation on this branch only, which should be right there. So right here. So right at the bottom here, or near the bottom, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. Any questions, any concerns, anything like that? I think, yeah. I'm gonna grab some water. No problem, guys. Yep. Yeah. The YouTube, the video will stay up on YouTube, so it'll upload once it's done. So don't worry, it'll be there. Awesome. All right, I think that's it for Material Randomizer. If no one has any questions, that's good. That means I explained it well, hopefully. Let's see. We can talk a bit more about the metadata, I guess. I haven't had a tutorial about that so far. I'm not qualified to talk about the settings, exporting the settings, or anything like that. So I'm going to ignore that. It's a cool feature, but I don't know too much about it. Yeah, so let's go through. So let's create some data here. Should I add some metadata? So each metadata field here, so we support Cardano, Solana, Metaplex, and ERC-721. And each field you can set like a description. So this is the description field. Let's just copy that for everything here. So this will appear in each of the metadata for each of these formats. So we can also add some more fields, so like custom fields if you want. So this is the name of the field. So this is like what will appear as the header for this value. So if you want to call it like YouTube link, something like that, and then we can get the link to our channel right here. And then, ooh, look at that, he's live streaming. And then we go to the value here and we just fill that in. So that's the link. And then Discord or whatever, Discord, and then value, and then, I don't know, Insta. The important thing is make sure that these names are unique here. Names or the names. The names are unique because if they aren't unique, it'll mess up the dictionary that is created from these values. If you know Python or you know coding, you'll know that dictionaries, their keys have to be unique. So make sure that your names here are unique because they're fed into a dictionary and given and are turned into keys. And these are the values of those keys over here. So these can be whatever you want. They can be the same, they can be different, doesn't matter. Yeah, let's generate these and see what happens. So we can go over here, go back to this folder. Let's go to the metadata and talk about what happens here. So right away we can see that this is the name of the current NFT. So it's like full walkthrough tutorial. That was the name we set in Blender here. Here, and then the description right here. So that was the description field we filled out right there. And then we have these values down here. So these were added right below the actual traits for each of your NFTs. And this is just Ethereum. This is the same with Cardano and Solana. I won't show those. It's pretty much the same thing. And then a link. So this is the Windows. You click on this and it'll take you to the YouTube channel. So that's kind of cool. You can display this on OpenSea, have links to your Twitter or like custom descriptions, and this will apply to every metadata that's generated for each NFT. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's just simple like that. I didn't bother adding in the ability to use the JSON file just because it's I don't know, you don't really need to. It's pretty simple. Like you just add stuff here. I might do it because we need it for a service that we're going to be doing later, and I'll talk a bit about that in a bit. Yeah, so I think that's it. That's it for everything right now. I think I don't think I have anything else to talk about currently. I'll do like a quick demo of a cool feature. It's not really a feature, it's just sort of something I stumbled upon, or not stumbled upon, but formatted. We're actually doing this for a client. I can't really say much about, but let's go here. So I'll do a quick demo. So let me show you how we can add text to our NFT collection and then make that text the name of the current NFT and the DNA of the current NFT. And I'll show you how to do this with a code, and we'll do this in PyCharm really quickly. Did I uninstall my NFTs version 4? There we go. Okay, so we're gonna uninstall Blender, or Blend My NFTs. Save preferences, close out of there, save it, sure. And then get out of there. Let's move this over here. Okay, so this is the Blend My NFTs zip file. Let's unzip this really quickly. So we have the full repository here on our desktop. Let's open this up in PyCharm. So PyCharm is another integrated developer environment. It's specifically just for Python. You can do JavaScript, HTML, CSS in it as well, but you got to pay for that. So let's go to the exporter. So everything is going to happen in the exporter for this. You don't have to worry about any other files. So let's scroll down to here. So you'll see this comment block here called change text object in scene to match DNA string. And we can uncomment this out here by going command /. And then let's open, we gotta open up Blender again. I don't know why I closed it. So let's open up Blender. And then we'll go back here. We're gonna create a text object. So let's add this text object here. This is gonna be a pain to move around, but I'll try my best. Scale it up a bit. Let's go to the camera view and make it a little more thing. Scale like that. Actually, I don't want it to be, you don't want it to be too big because it'll mess. Who am I telling you guys this stuff? You guys know more than me. And then rotate this. Let's rotate it. Not that way. Oh boy. Text. Rotate it up. There we go. Someone's like rolling their eyes at this, watching the stream. My killer Blender skills. Okay, let's go back to the outliner. I think it was a view layer. Yeah, view layer. Okay, so the text object right here is in this collection. Let's move it up to script ignore. We'll call this the NFT name, and then we'll copy that name, the name of that text object, and then we'll go back into Blend My NFTs, the unzipped version. We're going to add it to this object's string right here. So that's the name of the object. So Blender, BPY, this BPY thing right here, that's Blender. That's Blender's Python module, and that's what Blender reads and knows what commands you want to do to Blender to make it do stuff. So right now we're looking at the data of your current Blender file, and then we're saying, okay, search all the objects and get this object right here. So right now, Python will get this object and then store it as this variable OB. So from OB, we can then say, okay, for the data for that object, select the body, and then set that body equal to this string right here. And then so anything within this string, make sure it's a string, obviously, and then right here, so this is a special string, this is an F string, this is recently added to Python, I want to say version 3.9, I think it was 3.9, but it's cool because you can mix and match like integers, floats, booleans, and a few other data types together in this F string with just these curly braces. There's some limitations to it with quotation marks and all that stuff, but it works pretty well. I use F strings all the time. It's like it's a cool Python thing. And as you can see, it sets it to the DNA. So let's keep it like that. And that's all we have to do. So that's it. So let's make sure we save. Out of this, always have autosave on if you're going into coding, but just, where's save? Save all, there we go. But just in case, just save that. We're gonna delete that and compress this file. Send to, there we go, compress. There we go. Okay, so compress the folder. And you just created Blend My NFTs, so that's cool. You modified it and stuff like that. So let's edit, preferences, add-ons, install, go to desktop, Blend My NFTs. So this is a new version. You guys can tell I've done this a lot. Save preferences, close, and then we'll refresh that. So just leave the text the way it is right now. It shouldn't matter really. Full walkthrough, we'll just create the data, create that, close that. The interesting part happens here with the images, so let's generate that. So that's done, and I don't want to spoil it, so I close that really quickly. So let's go to images here, open that up, and we can see very faintly, because the lighting is very poor and I don't know how to set up lighting properly, it says the DNA is 1, 2. And if we go to the first so we go to blend my NFT, or we go to NFT data, batch 1. We can see that the first NFT that was generated was 1, 2. The DNA for 1, 2, and it appears there, so that's awesome. It'll also appear there for 2, 3, which is the second NFT, so 2, 3 is the DNA for that. 3, 3, and so on for however many NFTs you have. So that's cool. We have that set. So let's go back to Blender and change it to the actual name of the file. So like some people put like a card at the bottom of their NFT, and it has like the name or the order number even. So I'll show you how to do the order number and the name as well. I won't go through and actually show the example. I'll show the example for one, but I think I want to wrap this up. I'm getting kind of tired. So let's save that here. We'll close this here like that. Yes, save. And then delete these two things right there. Delete and that. So we're going to open up this source folder again in PyCharm. And instead of so all we really have to do here is we can change this string. So let's delete that like that. And then we can select either this variable right here or the full NFT. So wait, hold on, what did I have there? Yeah, so this is the DNA. So this variable right here is the full DNA of a single NFT. So this will be the materials. This will include that materials DNA and the DNA. So let's set it to the order number of the NFT. So we can just do that really quickly by setting copy and pasting that order number variable right here on 136 and pasting it right there. To do the name, the actual name of the NFT, let me look for it because it's placed somewhere else. That's materials. Okay, so name is the NFT name is right here on line 229. So because this is below the code right here, let's copy and paste this below it. So this doesn't really have any effect. This doesn't really affect how stuff is rendered or anything like that. You can just paste that there. And then because this is now above that and it's in the scope of this variable, we can just set it like that. Now, because this doesn't, all the rendering stuff itself happens in these if statements down here, right there. And that's well out of the way of what we're modifying here. So nothing weird's gonna happen. You can be rest assured. And yeah, so let's actually do the name. So we'll say, I think we have enough space in Blender. So we'll say name is that, and then order num, it should come up there. So we'll say order num. And then we'll go, what was the last one? Full something. There we go. DNA. Cool. Okay, so this should print the name, order number, and the full single DNA. So these are the three main things I think people would want to show on like an NFT card, something like that. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool because you're like changing a text object for each object in Blender. So let's open up Blender again. We will save, I think it's already saved, hopefully. File, save, go back here, compress, send to, compress it as a zip file. Now we're going to go back to Blender and install it like it's a normal add-on. So preferences, blend my NFT. Oh wait, no, yeah, we got to install it first. Okay, install desktop right there. That zip file. Install add-on. Check. Save preferences. Close. And I didn't open that file, so we're gonna say open recent live stream. Don't save. Open. Perfect. I'm skeptical now that won't work because it didn't save. Reload scripts. Let's reload scripts. There we go. Okay. if you're wondering what I did there, I went to this right here, System Reload Scripts. This is a really handy thing, especially if you're developing a Blender add-on. Click that. It'll refresh all your add-ons. Keep in mind it might like eliminate stuff like this, but you just got to click around and it'll come back. It uses something called depth graph something. I forget what the class was. Lots of Python speak. I'm talking a lot about Python, Blender Python stuff. So let's create the data and then generate the NFTs. That'll start. Open up this here, go to images, batches, images. Again, we'll open this up. We get this big long string that that doesn't show up on the thing. So let's fix that. Let's fix that really quickly. And luckily it saves an example here, so we know how long this actually is. I don't know how to like paginate it. I guess let me see. Scale. That works. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's do this one more time. Create data. Generate. There we go. Okay, this should be the last time. And there we go. So we have like the name here, full walkthrough tutorial 1. That's the same name as the file. Order number 1. I think it's just formatting. And obviously you can change the font because it's a text object, so you just change the font in the actual text object itself. But for now, it's just this boring text font. And then the DNA is 3.1. And then we can go on here and it changes and all that stuff. So you can do some pretty cool stuff with that. I think that'll be pretty cool. So this is, I don't think I'm gonna create a full tutorial, well, this is a full tutorial. I don't think I'm gonna make this a full feature, but it's there if you guys want to use it. Yeah, and so I'll link it. I'll link people here if anyone asks in the future. But yeah, so that's how you do that. The code is there in the GitHub repo. It's just commented out because I'm lazy. I don't feel like making it a full feature, but it's there if you're interested. Awesome. Yeah. So I think that's it for this live stream. I wanted to show you guys a couple things. I know you guys, a lot of people have been sticking around here and they want to see some of the stuff we've been working on, because we've been really not quiet, but it's just gotten a little quiet in our server recently. And I've been working on quite a lot of stuff behind the scenes. In particular, oh, that messed up my folders. In particular, I've been working on updating our website and building out this service. I don't even know what we're gonna call it yet, but I think it's like Cozy API is what we're gonna call it. So let me turn off my webcam or my screen just for a second here, because I got some client work on here that I don't want to show you right now. It's not because I don't like you guys, it's because I could get in trouble. Well, let's open this up. I'm opening up this repository here in what's it called? PyCharm, and you guys can't see it, so sorry. But I'll show you guys the live sort of version of it. Let me pull the latest. I think I forgot to pull the latest version. Hold on. Fast 3 hours ago. Okay, so let me do this one more time, like that. This might take a few minutes to set up, but don't worry, it'll be worth it. It's really cool. I've spent so much time learning Django, learning what's it called? Learning Python. Where's the delete button? Where's the delete button? Okay, I'll just delete this stuff. Hold on. I should have been more prepared beforehand for this, but that's okay. Let's delete this. If you're wondering what I'm deleting test data from some tests I was doing earlier with a database and with user information and all that stuff. And it's cool. So let me show you here. I can delete some folders. That's cool. All right, so that should work. That should work. I hope. always preface with I hope. So let me go back here. 1 second, and I know it's a black screen right now. Hold on. The wait will be well worth it. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, I gotta install some stuff. For some reason, Avast always gets tripped up by pip installing files, and it scares the heck out of me. There we go. Okay. That's installed. I should, pip install. Okay. There we go. Okay, it worked. Ooh, it's a lot slower on my PC. Okay. Python. Okay, all right, let me bring my camera back, or my screen back up here. Sorry that took so long. I was setting up code stuff. I'll leave it vague like that. This is thiscozystudio.com. So this is, if you go to thiscozystudio.com, you'll see this page. So it's the same page, but just a little tiny bit different, you can tell. Maybe the font is different, I can't. Oh yeah, the font's different. Okay. So this whole front page is going to be revamped. So this is old stuff. I'm just keeping it here because I haven't had the time to change it. But let's take a look at what's new. So if we go here, these sign in and log up, or at least sign up and login buttons are the same, but in the public version, they're all what's it called? They're disabled. So you can't click these. You'll click it, you'll get a dead link. But if I click this now, click login. Wow, I get a login page. This has been here all along. I've just disabled it when I've deployed this website. So let's log in to a test account I created. So like that, and then test password. We'll log in here. And what's this? This is that dashboard. So I'm not going to save that. This is the dashboard that I showed you guys earlier. So we got some. We got a big thing coming. This is the big announcement, I guess. We're going to do some more announcements like this later. But we got some cool pages like account, Cozy Coin Wallet, which I have to set up in a second here. But yeah, we got pages and buttons and stuff. Most of this stuff still needs to be configured, but we got like session started at, I forget what time zone this is, but yeah, so brand new member. We can go to account, it'll just bring us back to the same page, dashboard. And so this is sort of like the beginning of a service that we want to create that will allow people to create an entire NFT collection inside Blender. Now I know this is on a website, and I know that you won't be able to do everything inside Blender, but the point of building out this website will be creating a service that you can render stuff in the cloud, where you can mint NFT tokens with this service and store your NFT images, animations, 3D models, and all that stuff, all in this one service here. So all this stuff right here is just filler, and will be changed soon. It's just basic CSS stuff. The only really thing that you need to pay attention to if you're interested is just this project stuff. That's the only thing that really works. I shouldn't say works, that's the only thing that's been customized. So if we go to, I forget what the dashboard, new project. Yeah. So the idea is you'll create a new project, or something called a project. You'll create a new one. And with this project, you can upload a Blender file. You can upload thousands of images, animations, 3D models, and metadata files. And you can do lots of stuff with it. So you can tell the service that you want to, you want to store files online and get like IPFS links back, or Arweave links back. You can and send that to a ERC 721 contract and then mint those tokens. Or you could just say like, oh, I want you to handle all the rendering for Blender. So I don't want to render all the stuff here in Blender. I want you to handle it because it's like, it takes so long. So you can upload a Blender file here and try to find a Blender file. So we'll open that Blender file that we just made. We'll create a new test project called test, and then just some description. I don't know if you need a separate description. We'll create that project, and some stuff will come up here. So the idea is it'll show all your files here, your drive storage and all that stuff, and it'll show you like what sort of actions you've done with that project. So like if you've uploaded a file, is it a .blend file? Do you want to start rendering, or do you want to start storing these thousands of images that you've already generated? So that's the idea. So this project will be basically everything that we have done with, that's a lot of windows, oh my god, with Blend My NFTs. So you'll create the Blender output folder. You can upload it to IPFS and store them and get the URLs back. Those URLs will be injected directly into the metadata, whatever you choose, and then that metadata will be sent off to be minted, and then you can create an NFT collection with this one project here. So that's kind of cool. And a lot of this stuff is still in development. I'm still creating this. This is like a really early beta, I guess you get to call it. So let's go to, I forget what the URL is, file storage, I think, maybe. No, it doesn't like that. Oh, I closed PyCharm. Why did I do that? Let me set this up one more time. Site. Okay, there we go. Should be back. Should be back up. There we go. So here, this took me ages to get, but you can actually set. Let me create. Nope. Let me create some example data here. So let's create data. And then just generate some images like we usually do. And then now we have this Blend My NFTs output folder. So we can then say, okay, so I want to upload that entire directory. Upload that. Yes, 11 files selected. Cool. And then we're going to select this test project that we created. A lot of this UI is going to change. I'm just placing, this is all just mostly filler. So we can upload those files there. And then, yeah, so that's the basic idea. You can upload Blender files, you can upload entire blend my NFTs directories so that you can store them. And then later on, we're going to add smart contract capabilities like that using APIs and stuff like that. Another thing, this is that file that page that wasn't working. So let me turn my display off here again. I'm just going to set something up really quick. Where is it? Okay, almost. All right, there we go. So this is another page on here. This is that page that wasn't working. It's something to do with the database. I won't get into it, but this is the sort of payment method that we're planning on using for this kind of service. So we're thinking it'd be cool to have it so you pay for everything individually, like you pay for uploading like 10,000 files and storing them on IPFS or something like that, and you get the links back. Or you could pay for the rendering service that we're going to provide, or the smart contracts. The issue with that, and the thing that, I don't know, the issue I have with that is that we have to set up and we have to program that payment gateway to do each and every single one of those things. We need a different Django model to do that. So what we've done is sort of simplify that into this coin system, and a lot of other render services use that, like iRender uses it. They use like a sort of coin system where you pay for, like, I think it's pinned to the dollar. So you pay $100, you get 100 coins, and then you spend those coins per hour that you render or train an AI model on their GPUs. And so it's very similar to that. The difference is that you can spend it with different stuff. So you can spend it to store your files, you can spend it to mint smart contracts, you can spend it to render these images online. So you can, as you can see, we got like packs here. This doesn't really go anywhere. But the plan is that people will buy the packs, or buy Cozy Coin, is what we're calling it. It'll be added to their wallet. That way you're only paying for the coins, so it's easier to code and it's very simplified. And then the coins can then be used to render in the cloud and then store the files and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the plan. That's what we've been working on for the past month and a bit, 2 months, 3 months. I can't remember how long it's been. It's been a while. We've planned this out for quite a while, and it's just been recently in the past few months that we've actually built this out. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited for this. I'm really excited to get this out there. Our other co-founders, my brothers, are also really excited to get this out there. We think this is going to help a lot of people. And the plan is, yes, there will be this interface and all this stuff, but you'll also be able to use Blender. You'll also be able to use it all inside Blender with an API. So we're also building out an API that will go along with this user interface that will allow you to do all of this cool stuff inside Blender. So you don't have to like go to Chrome, swap back and forth between that. You can create projects inside Blender and all that stuff. So that's the plan. I think I'm rambling quite a bit now, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. That was the sneak peek. I hope you guys enjoyed the whole live stream and all that stuff. You guys have any questions about that? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. It's quite a work in progress. We've done, I've spent so much time working on it. Anyway, I think I've lost a bunch of people. We got 5 viewers. Thank you guys for sticking around. I like to ramble sometimes, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, that's it. Awesome. I'm going to stick around just a few more minutes if anyone has any questions. If you're on YouTube watching this in the future, thank you for watching this. I don't know how long this live stream has been going for, 2 hours, 3 hours, something crazy. I hope you guys got a lot of info out of this. Yeah, I hope this helps a lot of people. So that's the big thing. Awesome. Cool. I think that's it. I think I'm going to end it there. If you have any questions, please ask them in the Discord. I'm usually around all the time. Just ping me. I'll do the best I can to help. Like I said, I'm busy building this thing out and doing like software stuff behind the scenes and developing. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. I keep rambling, but thank you guys. Yeah, I don't know how to end it, so goodbye.